Welcome to Cook 30. I'm Jeremy Dixon from the Revive Cafes in Auckland, New Zealand, and also wrote the Revive Cafe cookbooks. And I'm excited today to be able to share with you a delicious cafe-style meal. Cook 30 food is all about using whole grains, plant-based proteins, fresh fruit and vegetables, and tying it all together with delicious herbs and spices. And the best part? You will not have to spend hours slaving away in the kitchen. I'm going to show you in just 30 minutes how you can make a delicious meal for your family. On the menu today we have a Revive Super Salad Mingle. And this is my dream salad full of all my favourite ingredients. We have Thai pan-fried tofu, roasted orange butternut, freshly cooked quinoa, colourful vegetables, and over the top we're going to drizzle a delicious cilantro lime aioli and fresh herbs as well. And to finish, a creamy strawberry parfait. Now, quick meals do not happen by accident. You need to be prepared and have your kitchen set up. We've got a good chopping board here, sharp knife, some dishes that we're going to be using, pans on the stove. We've got our jug full of boiling water. The oven is on at 350 Fahrenheit, which is about 180 Celsius. And we've got food on the counter and in the fridge, and we're ready to go. Okay, first job, we want to get the dessert ready. This is going to take a little bit of time to kind of refrigerate and harden up in the fridge, so we want to start it first. And this parfait's got two sections. So the bottom section is going to be kind of a creamy layer. So we're going to use the blender to blend this up. Now, this is a powerful blender. If you haven't got such a powerful blender at home, you might want to soak your cashew nuts overnight, and that'll soften them and give you a much better chance to be able to quickly turn it into kind of a nice creamy texture. But if you've got a powerful blender, fresh raw cashew nuts will be fine. So we're going to start with 1 cup of cashew nuts and 1 cup of water. That's an easy start. So 1 cup. Now this recipe will change every time. So you may need to add more water later. Now we're going to add some coconut oil. Now coconut oil is a really healthy oil, and we're going to just, comes in little jars that look like this over here. And it comes hard, so it's actually a great thing to use for a dessert because it adds a lot of creaminess, and also it kind of goes hard and gives a kind of a nice kind of firm texture, which you need for desserts. So we're going to get the spoon out, and we're only going to need a tablespoon of this. It's very high in fat, so it's a very concentrated food, but just a tablespoon is not going to kill you, and it's a really good fat as well, good oil as well to use. So there's about a tablespoon, and we're just going to put it in a hot pan, and that'll just take a couple of minutes, or a couple of seconds actually. As you can see, it's just turning into an oil. If we put it in without making it into an oil, you just end up with these little kind of coconut oil flecks through it. So this way you're kind of going to have a nice smooth consistency. So while that's going, I'm going to add some honey. It's just a little bit of sweetness, so probably around about a tablespoon of honey. You could throw in a date in there if you want. It's nearly there. Look at that. Only takes a few seconds. And coconut oil is a really good oil to use for stir fries as well. But of course, with any kind of oils, you want to use them very sparingly because they do have a high fat content. There we go, it's nearly there. So we're just going to pour that in there, a mixture like that. And that will just assist the dessert to go nice and firm. So we're going to blend this up. We want to make sure that we end up with a smooth kind of cashew cream rather than water and little bits of cashew nuts. So you want to keep blending till it's really, really, really creamy. So it may take a minute in some blenders. Let's have a look at that. This is quite a good blender, so it should be right. Look at that. See, it's just a really nice, creamy mixture. And we're going to put these in these beautiful glasses here, and this will be the base of our dessert. And just like that. Try and get it even, look at that. And we're going to put those in the fridge, and that is just going to harden up. Be really gentle not to move them. And this will just, by the end of the next 30 minutes, that'll be a nice, really kind of a cheesecakey style texture. First job done. Okay, second job, we're going to be doing the butternut. So butternut pumpkin is a lovely ingredient to use. I'm going to cut it here. So this section has the seeds in it. We're going to use that later for something that doesn't require some time. And this section here we can use straight away. So just get something on the skin here I'll get off. So we're just going to chop this up. There's no seeds. We're going to use a skin and all. So we're going to chop it into cubes, probably around about 1 centimetre or ½ an inch. And just make cubes. And this is just the most delicious, sweet, kind of mushy, lovely kind of texture to have in a salad. And at my cafes, anything with pumpkin always sells really, really well. Or butternut squash, depending on what you call it in your country. So we're going to mix it with some flavour. So I'm just going to put it into a bowl to start with. Yeah, so the skin will go very soft, so we don't need to peel it. It's got nutrients in it, and it gives a bigger yield as well. So there's a lot of things you don't need to peel if they're good condition. If it's a little bit dirty or something, you may want to. We're going to be adding about a tablespoon of oil. We've got about ½ a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to add some orange juice. And this will just give it a really nice kind of orangey, pumpkin-y kind of flavour, just to give it something extra. Pumpkin with just a little bit of oil and salt is great, but add some orange juice to it, and it just helps it along and gives it just another dimension of flavour. This is the dream salad, so we've got to make sure every single ingredient is really special. So just mix it around like that. Pop it on an oven tray. Just like that. And into the oven. So 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, and that'll take around about probably 20 minutes until they're nice and soft. You don't want them to be becoming, so they're breaking apart, just so it's just soft enough to eat. Next job is the quinoa. So I'm just going to heat this pot, so I'll turn the gas on. And the recipe for quinoa is a beautiful grain that comes from South America, full of protein, and is a dream grain, and it makes really nice salads. So we're going to pop in 1 cup of quinoa. I'm measuring this out. 2 cups of boiling water, or near boiling water. And this is just a standard recipe for quinoa and rice, and also buckwheat. One cup of grains to 2 cups of water. And I generally don't salt my grains when I put them in. I generally save any kind of flavouring until after, so I just put them in without salt. 2 rules in cooking quinoa. Lid on. We want the water to go into the quinoa and make it nice and fluffy and cook it. If you leave the lid off, the steam's just going to evaporate and it's not going to cook. Second rule, don't stir. Little steam vents will appear in the quinoa to cook it. If you stir it, you kind of interrupt that process, so just leave it as it is. So we're going to bring it to the boil. Yep, it's just starting to bubble now. And we're going to turn it down to very, very low. So it's just bubbling. And that will take around about probably 12 to 15 minutes, but keep an eye on it. One day at home, I actually cooked some quinoa and left it and forgot about it. And I came downstairs and there was all this black smoke through our house. It was just horrible. Turned it off. Fortunately, nothing burnt. But it's a very, very easy thing to burn if you overcook it. So watch out and be careful. It took me ages to get the pot cleaned. But yeah, so make sure you put a timer on or keep awares. So we have 3 jobs. The dessert's started, the pumpkin's in, the quinoa's on. Great start to our dream salad. I'm going to do the tofu next. And tofu gets a reputation for being very bland and boring, but I hope this recipe will dispel that myth that you have that. So we've got some firmish tofu here. I'm going to use ½ a pack, so probably around about 300 grams or about 10 ounces. And I'll just turn the heat on here. And we're just going to cube it and let it cook for a while and then add some really delicious ingredients. So We'll just chop it kind of kind of finely. And then with all your cuts you can economise. You don't need to cut every side, of every little cube. If you kind of keep it as a cube, big block like this, you can then chop everything like that. Save lots and lots of time. There we go. I'm going to put a touch of oil in. We're not deep frying things here. That's probably about a teaspoon, perhaps a slight bit more. You don't need much oil if you've got a good non-stick fry pan. So traditionally you might have marinated tofu, but the way I like to do it, and that's fine, but the way I think is quicker, is you basically want to heat it up, get it nice and hot, and then you add your flavours at the end, and the hot tofu will just soak in all the flavours. So we'll wait to the end and get that going there. So we want to have that reasonably hot, but we don't want to necessarily burn it. So get that underway there. Just clear this board. And we're going to start chopping all our fresh vegetables. Being a salad, you want to make sure you've got fresh stuff happening, because it's a salad. So we're going to start with some baby spinach or any kind of a lettucey type thing. Now when it comes from the shop, often it looks a little bit dry and a little bit kind of sad. Just a little bit of fresh water over it, cold water. Just give it a bit of a sprinkle, not much. Just kind of brings it to life, and it just kind of wakes it up. And that little spinach is going, that's just wonderful. So we're going to use a good handful of this baby spinach as kind of a base. We're going to mix it up later, but that's a good start. Now these sugar snap peas are just amazing. So you can find them in most supermarkets. They're these little wee sweet guys, and they are just so sweet and crisp and fresh. They're just lovely. So they just will add just an amazing burst of flavour for the salad. Oh, there's a wrinkly one. So we're going to throw in a handful of those, and we're just going to leave them as they are. We're not going to cut them or anything. You can eat the whole thing. And they're just a little kind of one. When you're eating salads, it's nice to eat it through, and you kind of get this surprise kind of bite or burst of flavour or crunch. So this is going to add that. Let's give the tofu a little bit of a toss. It tastes great. What else we're going to do is green. Green, we're going to use some asparagus. I'm just going to use some raw asparagus, and we're just going to chop it into kind of 1-inch lengths, not getting too near the base where it's all woody. Just going to sprinkle that through. So that's the green stuff. And we're going to start adding colours. And that's the number one rule with salads is colour. So I've got some lovely cherry tomatoes, got some orange ones, or yellow, depending on how you see your colours. Throw about a cup of those, and a cup of red ones as well. So colour is the number one rule with salads, so we want to make sure we've got lots of different colours. We've got some orange, so we've got a capsicum or bell pepper. I'm just going to rip out the middle and chop it in half. And we're just going to vary all the different cuts, so I'm just going to make this one kind of long, thin, kind of mini juliennes. So we're just going to chop through here, and when you chop like this, you need a sharp knife obviously, but they kind of end up with a nice kind of a curved random shape. Keep the tofu turning, and I'll do some more of that as well, and just chop through like that. When you're chopping, you want to be rocking your knife back and forward on the board and keeping your eye on it, and you want to really keep your knife nice and sharp. It's much, much safer. I'm going to add some olives. Olives is another favourite ingredient of mine, so I've just got some Kalamata olives. They're probably the best olives to have, and I like using pitted olives, so they're olives that have had the pits taken out of them. I think from a chefing point of view, it's not necessarily probably the most chefy way of doing it, but there's nothing worse than crunching through a nice salad and you've got a pit to deal with, or something that accidentally breaks your teeth. So I'm a big fan of using pitted olives. And some of these ingredients we might actually leave till the end, so don't use all of them, as kind of a bit of a garnish. So once you've plated it up, you want to make sure some of your feature ingredients are on the top, and that makes the salad kind of talk to you and say, Eat me, eat me. And we avocado. Avocado, no one's ever going to complain about using avocado in a salad. So chop it in half. These are very easy if you can chop this into the stone and actually slice yourself. So be really careful, make sure you're doing this type of thing on the board. So if you miss, you're not going to end up taking off your, doing an injury. And just kind of dig the avocado out with your thumb. So the art of avocado is actually finding one that's actually firm enough to work in a salad, but it's not too ripe or too hard, and not brown either. So it's a bit of an art at the supermarket. You want one that's kind of just firm, but just a little bit of softness. After a while, you kind of get the technique. So it's all about colour. So this is the fresh component of the salad, pretty much done. Don't think I've got any ingredients left. And we'll just leave that there. Now the tofu is warming up nicely. As you can see, it's starting to go a little bit brown. Now by itself, tofu is really bland and boring. I made the mistake at one stage I was cooking a meal for someone and they'd never tried tofu. So I said, can we find out what it tastes like? So I gave them some bits of raw tofu. Big mistake. They tried it and went, oh, that's absolutely terrible. So you've got to make sure you've got flavoured stuff with it first. So I flavoured it up and they liked it then. So I nearly put them off for life. So tofu is by itself is just soybean curd, but we're going to add some really nice flavours. So we're going to add some ginger. And ginger's lovely. So we're going to add around about 2 tablespoons of ginger to this. We're going to add a tablespoon of honey, give it some sweetness. And I've got these lovely Thai curry pastes. And these are something you want to have in your cupboard. You can get different colours and flavours, but probably the two most popular are green and red. And they just add it's a lovely, kind of spicy, flavoursome Thai flavour to anything. So make sure you've got those in your cupboard. Today we're going to use the red curry paste. And we're just going to add just a little bit. And every curry paste is kind of different in terms of its hotness. So you kind of want to get to know the one you get. So this one I'm going to probably add around about a teaspoon, I think. And we're just going to just stir this around. And all these flavours are going to be soaking in there. I'm also going to add the juice of a lemon, just to give it a bit of extra bite and just give it a bit of, just through my fingers to avoid the pips coming out. Just to help all those flavours come around as well. So 1 lemon generally yields around about 2 tablespoons. With obviously it depends on your lemon. So we're just going to let that mingle for a few more minutes and it will just soak up all these flavours and it will be a beautiful, lovely Thai pan-fried tofu. If you've just joined us on Cook 30 today, we are making a Revive Super Salad Mingle. This is my dream salad full of all my favourite ingredients. We're going to be using Thai pan-fried tofu, roasted orange butternut, freshly cooked quinoa with colourful vegetables, and over the top, drizzled with a cilantro lime aioli, and of course, fresh herbs. To finish, a creamy strawberry parfait. Okay, we need to do the strawberries for the parfait. So good strawberries, frozen strawberries are a great thing to have in your freezer. So we're just going to warm these up a bit and put these in this pot, this pan. Throw around about 2 cups. This is going to form the topping and the strawberry part of the dessert. So we want to get that underway. So we'll just let them melt. They should just a little bit of water in there just to help them along. But we just want them to effectively just defrost and become nice and soft. Let's make this wonderful aioli, cashew lime aioli. So we're going to start with 1.5 cups of cashew nuts. There's 1, there's 1/2. We're going to put in some water. So 1 cup of water. This is more than a cup. And we're going to put some lime juice in. This is what makes it. Lime juice is just a fantastic ingredient. So make sure you've always got limes and lemons in your kitchen. They're probably the most ultimate flavour enhancing kind of ingredient. The juice or the zest. So let's get that in there. So you generally get about a tablespoon per half of lime juice. In there like that. You know that's going to taste good. We're going to put a little bit of chilli paste in there, just a little drop, just to give it a little bit of a burst. We've got some whole grain mustard, just gives a nice flavour to it as well. About a tablespoon of that. Tablespoon of coriander. And an important ingredient for an aioli is garlic. So we're going to put in a clove of garlic. Let's put it straight in the press and then squeeze it through, skin and all, and just the middle stuff comes out. Look at that. Going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to blend it. Simple as that. Just give this a bit of a flip round. Whoop. A little bit of burning on the bottom, but not too bad. Strawberries are coming on nicely, nearly soft. They don't take long at all. And look at that, this beautiful aioli. Look at that. So it's probably a little bit thick, so I made a little bit more water, just so it's kind of pourable. So probably about another 2 tablespoons. Don't want to add too much because it can go thin very quickly. There we go. So there's a nice pourable kind of aioli. It's just a really delicious addition to drizzle over the salad. Let's get these strawberries underway. Look at that, they're nice and soft now. You could have used fresh strawberries if you want. And what we're going to do is just going to make a nice little kind of a thickening agent. So I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of, this is arrowroot. You can use corn flour as well, but I prefer arrowroot. It kind of works a little bit more consistency. So 1 teaspoon of arrowroot or corn flour. Get out of the bag. And cold water, must be cold, and you only want about probably 2 tablespoons of cold water. I'm going to mix that up. Let's mix it up quite evenly. And when this gets hot, it turns into like a nice kind of a gluey mixture that kind of makes these strawberries into a really nice kind of a coulis, I suppose. I think of it like a runny jam. And we're just going to pour these in here. This is obviously very hot in here. Some of the strawberries have released some liquid, and that's very, very hot. We're just going to pour it in. That's all you need, just that amount there. And this will just slowly, it only takes a couple of seconds if it's hot, thicken up to be a really nice, thick, jammy, saucy thing that will go on top of the parfait ingredients we used before. Now I'm also going to add a bit of honey, because strawberries are inherently reasonably kind of tart. So you probably want about 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey, just to sweeten them up. And so you don't want kind of a tart dessert. And honey is kind of my favourite healthy, quick sweetener. I often use date puree, just blend up some dates and some water, and you can make a really nice kind of a date paste puree thing that you can use here as well. So look at that, that'll kind of just slowly start to thicken, and we'll pour that over our desserts. Look at that. So we'll just leave that sitting there, and we'll pour that over shortly. Okay, we can start to plate up the salad. So first ingredient we're going to get the pumpkin from the oven, the butternut, and this is just looking perfect. Smells amazing. You just want to make sure it's nice and soft. Just kind of get your finger and push it down. See, it's kind of a little bit soft, but it's still kind of retaining its shape. That's how you want it. And we're just going to pour this over here, and this is the kind of the fun part of the salad, putting all the ingredients together. In my cafes each day we do this in a great big mixing bowl with a few little burnt bits, but that's not too bad. And we're going to add this tofu, which is now finished. So put that on top, and these flavours just work really, really together really well in a salad. And I think the quinoa is finished as well, look at that. And I'm just going to get to this and just going to spoon some quinoa, so I'm just going to scrape some off like this and just kind of sprinkle it over. Just like that. So you probably want around about a cup of cooked quinoa. Always make more than you need. This leftover quinoa we can put in the fridge and use for a stir fry or another dish tomorrow. So it's a really, really good thing to do. So I've got these ingredients, so I'm just kind of going to roughly mix them. Just like that, look at that. And you want to let kind of gravity do its thing. You don't want to kind of push things down. Look at all those little wonderful colours coming through there. And to finish, we're just going to drizzle this aioli off over like this, and add some fresh herbs on top. And this is going to be one of the most incredible salads that you have ever tasted. So I've cut up some fresh mint and cilantro and sprinkled it on top, and that is my dream salad with all my favourite ingredients. You've got protein with the Thai tofu, whole grains with the quinoa, all those lovely fresh vegetables, and that cashew lime aioli. And for the dessert, I've put the strawberries on top of the cream and garnished it with a bit of pistachio nuts. That is going to taste amazing. You've seen all those ingredients. It's just going to be delicious. Thank you for joining me on Cook 30, and I look forward to seeing you next time.